Hello again, or hello for the first time if this is your first time here. I'm so glad you came. I'm going to be working on a glue book project again today because I'm getting close to finished, and I find that getting close to finished part is almost as exciting as starting a new one. So I'm going to be using some little bit different techniques today, and I also wanted to talk about contentment because I found so often people aren't content. And I find myself also sometimes I'm just not content with how things are. Even if they're not bad, I'm not content. But if they are bad and I'm going through something difficult, which I have done, believe me. And I mean, who hasn't? If you're going through something difficult, it's really good to know how to find contentment within the situation rather than just saying like, get me out of here or make this stop, which you can do at the same time, but calming yourself down, calming your body down, contentment is the key. Keep watching and you'll find out why. As you can see, this book is almost finished. And I just have these two and the cover, outside cover. And then I thought I would go back and do the front page too, which I didn't do when I started. But it has gotten quite fat, and that's just fine. So what I thought I would do here is, I think I'll use this and do the same as I did in this little tiny journal here in the background, which I think is really nice, but I'm going to use a bigger brush. And these are just makeup brushes. I got them in a set at TJ Maxx or whatever the equivalent is. So keep an eye out for places like that. And I thought I would I don't know how much of this is going to show through. I just thought I would start with it. Might be gone by the time I finish because I'll just keep covering it up. But I thought this is where I would start anyway. And I have no plan whatsoever. I should really have my plan all made, but today I have kind of a lot going on and a lot of things to sort of get sorted out, or get sorted as the people from the UK say. In Canada we say sorted out. Don't ask me why. It's just one of those things. Okay, I think I need something pictorial. Now I've got some paper there. Let's just fish through this box. I will need my parchment for gluing. I don't think I want that. Oh, I'm just going to pull out some odds and ends here and see how it turns out. That's nice. This is the box where I just throw stuff. I like that. I like that. I don't think I'll use that. This is useful on both sides, I guess. I'm not going to use it today, but you never know. Want something with blue in it, that might work. There's some sky. So this is the kind of project or pace that you can take when you start working on a glue book page. You just, you don't have to have a plan, and sometimes it's better almost if you don't have a plan because then it's more spontaneous. What's this? I don't think I want that. All right, that's a good starting point. I don't really have a theme. I think I'll put this down here just to cover that up, but I'll probably end up covering it up as well. However, I might put it this way just because it has this ragged edge. And just tear it down to this little place where I folded, which is the edge of the page. Sure I can get this pretty close to right on. I think that's pretty close to right on. And I need my glue and everything. I sort of pushed everything back here. Anyway, I wanted to talk today about finding emotional contentment, especially during difficult times. Like a lot of us, we go through difficult times, and sometimes we just find ourselves in difficult times without any inkling of how long they'll last. If they'll last, is it temporary or permanent? And we can't see our way out. And what happens then, I think, is that we get so anxious that you're just miserable. So we can choose to be miserable, which high anxiety will make you, or we can learn how to be content regardless. And I'm reminded of the Apostle Paul, who said, I forget what book that's in, he said, I have learned how to be content whether I'm abounding or abased. That's from the King James, those words, King James Version. But basically he was saying, I've learned how to be content if things are terrible or if they're great. Just going by that, I would say, okay, Paul, Mr. Paul, obviously it's possible to be content regardless. I think I'll just use a little bit of it. Like that. So whether or not you are miserable or content in any situation pretty much depends entirely on you. And I've been through situations where I have been pretty miserable, pretty unhappy, and then kind of figured out how to change my thinking. And really, your thinking, your emotions follow your thinking. So if, for example, I were to say, this is terrible, this is terrible, this is terrible, that would make me anxious. So those emotions follow the thoughts that I have put in my head or decided to think. If your situation is difficult and you feel sorry for yourself, I mean, we're all quite capable of feeling pitiful. I know I have, or feeling like a victim of circumstances or other people or whatever. Like, I had no idea my life was going to turn out like this, and it's not at all like I like, you know. And I've had those kind of thoughts and feelings. I kind of want this blue to show around the edges or whatever. Where's that fleur-de-lis? Like this. Should I put it there? I've come up with some emotional strategies to help you find contentment. And these are things that I've learned the hard way and that I mostly have used and that I find work and whatnot. So, number one is practice self-compassion. So that's different than feeling sorry for yourself. I think it's so tempting to just feel pitiful. It's like, poor pitiful me, and have your own little one-person pity party, or just tell everybody about your troubles and your misery, and it perpetuates the misery, and it doesn't accomplish anything good. You can say, yeah, but I feel better when I tell people. I say, yeah, okay, I get that. We do tend to feel better when we sort of unload. But if you're the one unloaded on, it's not always all that pleasant. And I'm speaking from experience here, because there's someone in my life who believes that, you know, dumping the emotional mess on the nearest person is just totally fine. And quite often I've been the person in question. I think that's nice. This individual goes away feeling happy because all that junk is out, and I feel like I've just been vomited on. But treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer someone else who's going through something difficult. Let's put it that way. Be gentle with yourself during challenging moments. And acknowledge your feelings without judgment. So that's to say, okay, today I'm feeling quite sad, but don't add, I must be a real loser, or what an idiot I've been for not seeing this coming, or that kind of thing. Just be kind. Be kind in all things is sort of my motto. Do I always do it? Well, not always. I'm occasionally remiss, shall we say. I keep getting glue on my fingers today, or ink or whatever. Okay, here's another one. Try positive affirmations. If you incorporate positive affirmations into your daily routine, have choice phrases that really work for you and make you feel better and make you feel happier in the place where you are. Anniversary sale starts today. I actually quite like that. It's fun. I've moved things around and I've started putting my stickers into this jewelry holder that I ordered, but they haven't all found their way in here. So I'm still kind of working at where they are, and I'm hoping that in general, this is going to be a lot more efficient for me. It remains to be seen. But so far, I'm pretty happy with it. I want to use something like this because it has a blue in it, so I'm just going to take that out now. Tried to decide whether I should put things together according to color families or style or the grouping that they came with when I ordered them and that sort of thing. I just haven't figured that out yet. Positive affirmations. Look at yourself in the mirror and talk nice to yourself is a good plan. I think I'll use the blue again. Just make this kind of a blue theme page and do the edges here. Okay, here's another one. Focus on the present. I went through a period where I had really high anxiety with good reason about some things that were going on in my life. My parents were ill and needed care, and I was like the go-to person. And at the same time, my business was, as it was at the time, was sort of crumbling under me, and it was an awful time. And one little strategy that I incorporated was when I started to, hyperventilate, I just looked around me and said, okay, that's past and that's future. Right now, I'm fine. Right now, everything's okay. At this moment, I have enough food, I have clothes, the house is warm, I have things I need to do, and it calmed me right down. And I felt, even though the problem still existed, I wasn't in such a state of high anxiety. Those kind of things really work. Focusing on the present moment means practicing mindfulness. Pay attention to where you are, what you're doing at the moment, rather than having your mind race all over the place. If I could have a motto about anxiety, it's don't dwell, because once you're dwelling means to live somewhere, right? You can live in the past and the miseries thereof. You can dwell on your fears of the future, whatever. Just don't dwell. Appreciate the beauty of the moment and find contentment where you are right now. So right now, I have things I have to do. I have all kinds of stuff. I'm just going, right now, I'm just doing this. And this is enough, and I'm present here with you making this thing. Cultivate optimism, that's another one. If you train yourself to see the silver lining, it really helps in difficult situations. So nothing is ever 100% bad at once. There's always something good that also is part of it. You kind of need to train yourself on how to find that. And while I'm thinking about this, see about getting out some more little pieces here. Instead of dwelling on what's wrong, which is so easy to do, and obsessing about it, which is, mental nutcase stuff, focus on what can be learned or gained. Oh, that's kind of nice. Focus on what good could come out of it, or what good is in it. For example, when my parents were ill and fading, one of the good things that I could say came out of it is that I made a point of spending more time with them. And I'm so glad I did, because it made the pain of their passing so much less. In fact, my husband said after everything was over and I was the executor on my mom's will, and that went on for like 3 years. That's pretty. My husband said, "You have nothing to be ashamed for because I did everything that I could." And I can look back now and go, well, I sure learned a lot about how to deal sensitively with people who aren't well. It goes on and on. I won't go into it now. Okay, another one is to express gratitude. And I think nowadays it's kind of trendy to talk about gratitude, and it gets kind of flippant. And I think that's why I think I like thankfulness better than gratefulness, because thankful is expressed toward someone or something or some being. In my case, it's towards God. I'm thankful. And we just had Canadian Thanksgiving, which is in October, not November, because we're not American, we're Canadian. And it's a chance to stop and go, well, I'm really thankful for whatever. I love these pink flowers, but I'm not sure if I want to introduce pink in there. Okay, that's as far as I can go with that. I haven't finished sorting out all my stickers and little bits. Okay, embrace acceptance. That's like full acceptance toward you. Accept that life is not perfect. It's up and down. It's good and not so good. And sometimes it's miserable. Jesus said, "In this world you will have tribulation." He goes on to say, "But be of good cheer because I've overcome the world." And I'm like, yeah, but I'm the one here in the tribulation. And I think what he meant was, in this world, trouble is just part of being in this world. These are so adorable. I love these little houses, and so cute. Anyway, if you've got a journal on the go, it's a good place to be thankful. So keeping a gratitude or thankfulness journal and simply taking a moment each day to think about what you're thankful for calms yourself down and brings contentment. Understanding that you can't control everything, you can only control how you react to things, is so important. I think part of the reason that we are not content is that we want to control everything and we just can't make it happen because we're not in control and stuff's going to happen. For example, last winter, one of my neighbors blew up his house. It was from, frankly, his own stupidity, but suddenly he had a firestorm, and I can well imagine that he had some regrets about how he decided to barbecue a turkey. But, when stuff like that happens, you can just go, well, okay, I did something dumb, and this is the result, and now what? You can control how you think about things. And here's a little story. Years ago, my mom wanted to take this trip. She had relatives in Wisconsin, and she wanted to go visit them. I'm trying to decide what to put where here. And my dad said he wasn't going, and I said, well, I'll take you. I worked for a hotel and I had some extra time off, and I said, I'll drive you. So then my dad said, well, I'll go too then. I think he just didn't want my mom to drive. Anyway, I decided at the start of the trip that anything they wanted was fine with me. It was my gift to my mom, and whatever happened was fine. I decided, and I have decided over and over again, to be an easygoing person. And that's something, partly it comes naturally to me because I tend to be a little bit like that anyway. You get to decide how you feel about things. You get to choose what your thoughts are. So you can choose good and peaceful, or you can choose miserable. I suggest you choose good and peaceful. Okay, I want something, don't really want to cover this up so much, but I want a few little pieces. I like to just, really pack it in there. Here's another thing you could do. Visualize being in a peaceful place. So for me, that's on a beach with the sun shining, not too hot, not too cold. Close your eyes and imagine whatever is peaceful and happy for you. Cabin, a garden. Just visualizing it can help reduce your stress and foster contentment. This Bunches of Botanicals book also has little things like this in it, which are great for tiny spots. If you want something a little bit different, that would probably work right in there. Or one of these. Let's see about that spot. I'm going to try it. If I don't like it, well, tough. I will have learned. Okay, now I want something else for here, but I also want to talk about this one, which I think you'll really like, which is do something creative. Because especially if you love something, like doing this kind of glue book or anything that actually works for you. If it's creative, it occupies your mind and it calms your system down. Channeling your creativity can bring a sense of accomplishment as well as emotional release. And practice forgiveness. I think we crank ourselves up a lot by just holding on to grudges and making ourselves miserable because of what somebody did or said or whatever. Now I just need something in there, don't I? And it's totally your choice. You can say, but I was done wrong. And that's really not the issue, because it does happen, of course. My take on forgiveness is this. I just take it to God. I acknowledge that I have been wronged. It's like, God, this shouldn't have happened to me. That person was wrong. I've been hurt, whatever. But it's not my job to do anything about it. I'm not going to seek retribution. In fact, God said, vengeance is mine, says the Lord. If there's reprisals that need to happen, it's God's business. It's not mine. I will just go, I take this emotion and all this junk that's going on in me. I wrap it up in a towel or a handkerchief. It's like, okay, here's all the thoughts and the junk and the emotions and the anger and hurt and everything. I'm going to wrap it all up. I'm going to throw it in there visually. I just visualize it. Go like this and give it to Jesus and go, okay, it's not mine anymore. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to deal with it. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to think about it again. And it works. The trick is, don't take it back. Oh, I don't know what to put in there. Sometimes you can just put a little strip of tape and it does the trick. So I have this one, which the colors work, but it seems like one piece of tape isn't going to do it. So I'm going to tear the ends. That way they're a little bit more artistic for some reason. So here's another thought about forgiveness. Forgive others for past mistakes and hurtful actions. Holding on to grudges or guilt can weigh you down emotionally, making it really difficult to find contentment. You just can't be content when your insides are roiling with stuff that you need to forgive. Oh no, this one has little sayings on it. I wonder if I should put that across there. Nah, I don't think so. I think I'll go back over here and get a butterfly or something. All right. Okay, here is the 10th one. Get out in nature. This is kind of nice. It kind of offsets that. Let's do this one. Spend some time outdoors. Go for a walk. Go to the woods. Go to the park. Go hiking. Or just sit in your yard if you've got one. Oh, this works. Nature has a calming effect and can help you find inner peace and contentment. Just a word about that too. Where I live, it's very easy to get out in nature because I live in a village surrounded by mountains, parks. There's a big lake, a 10-minute drive from here, and lots of parks and stuff. So it's quite easy for me. But I went to Vancouver on the weekend to have Thanksgiving, have a little get together with my daughters and grandchildren. And we went to a big park there, which is a beautiful park. It's a gardens, not just a park. It's beautiful. It was so packed that there's no way it was peaceful. Even being in nature there, it was just too much going on. So pick your times and pick your places. Even if you have to drive somewhere or go at a time when not everybody is there with their kids and their lunch and their whatever, just pick your times and find a spot that really works for you. Might be sitting on your balcony and having a cup of tea and using earplugs. It's amazing how well they work. There's some thoughts. Remember, finding contentment is a personal journey, and what works for one person might not work for somebody else. What works for me might not work for you. Experiment with different things. Be patient with yourself. Focus on positive attitude and compassion towards yourself. You can cultivate emotional contentment even during really difficult times. Like the Apostle Paul said, I've learned how to be content. So it's something you can learn and you can teach yourself how to be content no matter what's going on, because there's always something good at the same time. So there's my page in blues. I think it's really pretty. Your next step, of course, would be to watch one of these videos that I've got for you. And please leave a comment. I love to hear from you, and I answer all of them. And I'll see you next time.